Discomfort isn't a reward, it's a silent thief, and here's why. Nobody wakes up and just decides to abandon their goals. It doesn't happen all at once. It can happen on autopilot. An unmanaged mind creates a quiet, exhausting domino effect that traps us in places that we were never meant to stay. And it starts with a single, unchecked thought. And if we allow worry to simmer, it creates an anxious loop left unmanaged. That anxiety bottoms out into straight up depression, where you just feel completely stuck. Depression breeds fear. Fear of failing, fear of not being good enough, fear of stepping out, fear of the unknown, because our brains really hate vulnerability, and fear forces us into complacency. Complacency is just fear, wearing a mask of comfort, whispering, just stay here, get through, survive. But if we're staying in survival mode too long, it can turn into laziness, not because we're lacking character, but because we've run out of mental energy. And what's the ultimate cost of that is misalignment, because you're waking up and letting your God-given purpose and identity collect dust, and you're just checking survival mode boxes off the checklist. This isn't just a bad mood, but it's brain biology. Thanks to neuroplasticity, our brain physically reorganizes itself based on repetitive thoughts, and the average person has 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and a staggering 80% of them are negative. If we're walking down a path of self-doubt every day, you're wearing this pathway into your mind, and your brain defaults to that negative pathway because it's efficient. We've essentially wired our brain to be an expert at anxiety. But if your brain can wire itself into a trap, it can wire itself out. Because we can physically heal our brain using two simple tools: journaling and affirmations. Journaling shifts control. UCLA, a neuroimaging study showed that writing down your feelings activates the prefrontal cortex, your brain's logic center, while calming the amygdala, so your emotional alarm system, right? Journaling can basically take that away and ease your anxiety. Affirmations release drive. So brain scans also show that repeating truth-based affirmations fires up the brain's reward pathways, boosting motivation, emotional resilience, and over time, your brain undergoes synaptic pruning. The old unused negative pathways literally wither away, and your new positive thoughts become your default setting. Here's the strategy. We got to intercept our mind. Cutting edge science perfectly aligns with 2 Corinthians 10:5. We take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Taking a thought captive means a military arrest. So we're not going to entertain the lie, and we're going to stop it at the gate. And we can do that with these 3 simple steps. Acknowledge and write. So the moment your mind spirals, pause and write it down. Get it out of your head. Shut it down. Number 2, test for obedience. So look at the thought. Ask, is this a fact or is this a fear? Does it align with who God says I am? Because if it doesn't, we're crossing that out. And number 3, speak the truth. Replace that lie with a value-based affirmation spoken out loud if you have to. You cannot fight a thought with a thought, and you have to override it with words and actions. Let's stop letting yesterday's endless automated anxiety loops dictate our destiny. Grab a journal, capture those thoughts, and step out. There is so much beauty and transformation waiting on the other side of our renewed minds. And if you comment affirmation, I'll send you my top 3 that I'm personally focusing on this week, because we all have to start somewhere. And every time you're hitting that like and hitting that save, you're training the algorithm to push this message to someone who might quietly be drowning in survival mode today. Please like and share. Thank you so much for watching.